Welcome to a new Daily Top Askreddit video. Today's topic: people who are ghosting other people. Have you ever been called out? If so, how did that make you feel? 90% of people who ghost have an entirely different version of events. I was accused of ghosting someone who had stopped talking to me months earlier. I think I was supposed to chase them and fix things. My ex constantly wanted me to fight for her. After a while I was just like, why? You are quite right. Example, I have an old high school friend who only calls when he needs help. We are now in our mid-30s and after years of being asked to help with favors and not being invited to just hang out, I got fed up and just started ghosting him. It was a conscious decision. I just started letting more calls go to VM and not bothering to call back. This was when texting still cost $1 per text. Turns out the reason he only called me when he needed help was because I never accepted any invites to just hang out and have fun. However, when he asked me to help him do something, even if he did truly need the help, I would always head over and then we would hang out the rest of the evening like old times. So he adapted, and instead of inviting me over for a beer, he would ask for a hand wiring in a ceiling fan, move a sofa, buy a refrigerator, jump a dead car. Then inevitably, we would end up having a beer and catching up after the work was done. It took years before it dawned on me that he only called me for favors, because it was the only way he could get me to come and bond like we used to. Now we have a good relationship, and while I may not hear from him for months or even years at a time, we both know we can randomly invite the other over to help on a project and then catch up like we used to. What a roller coaster. He is the bad guy, you're the bad guy, NOONE is the bad guy, and you came to an understanding. Communication is so often the key. I'm glad you two figured it out. I was recently ghosted by a guy I'd been seeing. He actually reached out and apologized after a while, so that was nice of him, but it doesn't take away how much it hurt. My way of thinking is, if someone ghosts you, let the dead rest. No point in chasing after someone who doesn't want to be chased. I was low-key dating / hanging out with this guy that started ghosting me. After a while I texted and just asked him to honestly tell me what was up. He explained in great detail that he met someone else and had fallen hard for her. He apologized sincerely for being a dick by ghosting, and I actually really appreciated some brutal honesty for once. I've dated so many assholes that would lie about everything or gaslight me that I always prefer the harshest truth now. I did the "is everything okay? Are you tired of hanging out with people, or you just tired of hanging out with me?" And got a very decent last one, "I'm really bad at this back." I felt better for having that cleared up, and we weren't super long-term material anyway. This happened recently. I had a friend I had known for 25+ years. We wound up at the same company and realized we lived very close. She was all into office gossip and talked trash about people I liked. I asked her to stop. Any obstacle I was facing was dismissed because she had been through worse. When I needed to talk to someone about personal struggles I was having, she would talk over me and change the subject to her issues. This went on for a few years. I would hang up after talking to her and question why I bothered. Finally, I had enough. I ghosted her, and after few months, she reached out to me via text. I replied and told her why. I was not cruel, just honest. Now I am mean and hurtful. I blocked her and am not regretting this at all. I think about her and hope all is well. I just needed to sever the ties. As the great Tupac Shakur once said, just because you lost me as a friend doesn't mean you gained me as an enemy. I still want to see you eat, just not at my table. Tupac also said revenge was the sweetest joy, next to getting pussy. When things aren't going well in my life, I turn inward and isolate myself. I'm not good at receiving support, and therefore I avoid people when I'm not doing well. It makes me ghost the people I care about and then suddenly contact them again, and the cycle continues. I've been called out on it and I'm honest. I'm sure it's hurtful and it makes me feel awful, but I don't know how to be anything but the happy supportive friend that you'll get close to, and I'll disappear when I can't be that. This is exactly how I feel, but I have never been able to put it so well. I disappear when I feel like I can't be a happy supportive friend. I feel you. I do this too when shit starts to pile up. I just tap out and stop trying. Which makes me feel worse. And then that just spirals me out of control, which pushes me away from people even more. The hardest part is that I'm so aware of it, but when it happens, I feel completely helpless. I've been ghosting this girl I liked and she hasn't noticed because I'm the one who always starts the conversation. I now know that I'm not technically ghosting her. Please stop commenting that. This happened to me. I was close friends with someone at work for 17 years, 17. Then the school we worked in closed, and we were moved to different schools. For the first 4 months, I made all the effort in staying connected. After Christmas break, I just stopped. It took her 6 weeks to reach out to me. That was a really hard time. Yes, my best friend of 10 years, I helped plan, pay for, and was in her wedding, did the same to me. I noticed that I was always the one making plans, contacting first, etc. So I stopped. I haven't seen or heard from her in 2 years. Not sure, I'm ghosting my emotions right now. Ask again later. Bury them deep down like a Volca and hope they don't resurface. Emotional composting. My biological brother was ghosted by the woman his father was dating, who fathered 3 kids with her. I was adopted and so did meet my brother until our 30s when I heard this. Apparently our dad was awful, so it's good I was adopted out, but my brother lived through the worst of it. My brother was 14, living with his dad, the girlfriend and the 3 young boys they had together when his dad was killed in a drunk driving accident. He was the drunk. My brother came home from school one day shortly after and she had packed up the whole house and just left without telling him. He guesses because he wasn't her responsibility. At 14 he came back to an empty house. He had to call his grandparents 3 hours away to come get him. Horrible. He built a good life for himself since, but can you even imagine what that must be like? That lady should have been charged with child abandonment. Jesus, I hope your bro is doing well for himself. I think that would depend on who became the legal guardian after his dad died. It won't necessarily be his girlfriend. But I guess there's a reasonable expectation that she would make an effort to connect him to those legal guardians. No idea, not a lawyer. This is probably the saddest story I read on this thread. Really glad to see he had a happy ending. Depression definitely causes isolation for me where I ghost everyone. Edit. USA. 800-273 extension 8255. National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. UK. 111. National Health Service's First Response Service for Mental Health Crises. Reach out please if you feel like hurting yourself. Apologize I didn't add other countries. Me too. I haven't given even my closest friends / family attention in the past few months and I feel awful about it. But I'm so overwhelmed with anxiety and sadness at EM that talking to anyone seems like such a daunting task, so I've just avoided it altogether. My close friends know that this happens to me at times, but this time it's much worse given the pandemic and a bunch of other shitty things that have happened this year. Right there with your buddy. I didn't know someone exactly like me exists. An old ex from college got in touch with me via FB, which was lovely and a tiny bit concerning. Had a great time catching up, getting in touch with old friends from college via this exchange. Seriously, this was the best part of that, etc. His life turned out pretty much as I expected: numerous divorces, presumably some infidelity on his part, etc. Several months into our very polite chats, he suddenly shifts gears hard. He's spouting birther nonsense, trying to get me to leave my husband for him. Literally haven't seen this ex in 20+ years, and no way in hell is that going to happen. I blocked him on social media and didn't think twice about it afterwards. About 6 months later, our mutual college friends start haranguing me about why I'd ghosted the ex while he was deployed in Afghanistan. How dare I ghost a veteran who needed our support, etc. And how hurt my ex was that I'd cut off our friendship. Oh boy. Here's the thing. I kept a screenshot of his crap to show my husband. And each time one of my college friends started in with that nonsense, I sent them the screencap. One of the guys was so pissed, he told my ex that if he didn't stop backstabbing, they'd send it to his current wife. D. Haven't heard anything since, going on 8 years now. I don't expect to. I gotta be honest, your friends suck for giving you shit about your actions here. I don't have many friends, but the ones I do would have said, hey man, why did you ghost sweet Lisa? I'd say because she was being inappropriate. And they'd say, oh shit, that's fucked up, good for you. Absolutely no need for screenshots. From the context she gave, I would guess he said some shit to them like I just wanted to talk. Poor me, why she did that. It's so hard here and I didn't do anything wrong. I know she's an ex, but I thought we were still friends, sad violin. And completely left out the fact he was being creepy and abusive. Okay, I wouldn't call it ghosting, but I sometimes don't like talking to my mom. We have a very strained relationship and sometimes it's better for my own mental health to just not engage. Anyway, one time I was legitimately at the gym with my trainer and didn't answer. She left a voicemail that said, "You always have your phone on and answer when, BF, calls or texts. Why do you hate me so much? I am a 32-year-old mother of 3, raising my kids and my boyfriend's son. I'm busy. I'm tired. I just want to be left alone. You bought a phone for your convenience, not for other people, so you can choose when you want to use it." Yes. I actually had to unlearn the way I thought, as I used to think like her. Like people owed me to answer right away. Luckily, I figured it out pretty early.